Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. I hope you're ready to learn deterministic workflows. That's basically jargon for AI automation, which is obviously a big thing in business these days, and something I want to apply in my own business world and for clients out there. So I'm including you in the learning process because I think there's a lot of hype videos out on YouTube, but not enough granular micro step real world kind of explanation of how to deal with this yourself, and that I feel is what I can offer you. So let's get into where we are right now. And I've got the N8N workflow running locally, so go back and watch yesterday's video if you want to know why I didn't go for the cloud-based option and pretty much how I got it to install on my own computer instead of utilize the website. I thought today would be a good place to start in learning how to start. In other words, it kind of came to mind that the way I like to work is start at the outcome and then take one step back from there, and work the way back. So what I want to do here today is just get like the starting block down, and then from there kind of work in the way that I like to work is that potentially, we're still feeling it out, go to the end of a task of what you wanted to kind of do or be seen as. If it's an email or an update on a dashboard or a notification via Telegram or something to that effect, like let's start at the end and then work our way back to the beginning, because sometimes that cuts a lot of unnecessary steps out, because if you go from the beginning, there's so many options and ways to get to the end, but if we start at the end and work backwards, then all of those many potentialities become a lot less required. So I just want to get my prompt nice and bulky. I'm going to say you are a N8N expert who knows the documentation well. You're going to guide me in starting my first N8N workflow. I have the source code for in case you would like me to share that. For additional context. And this is all kind of stuff I've already covered in the previous videos, so I think that's fine for now. Let's bulk up the prompt and then get that into a session with Grok. And what I want to tell it is to say today, I would like to understand the kind of start options to learn which is the best fit. Yeah, my brain's starting to like not want to function, because when it comes to coding and late nights and that kind of stuff, I find myself like pushing myself real hard until breaking point, and then my next day kind of gets pardon me, the punishment for it. So if I'm less talkative today, it's because it's a mental thing. Oh man. So it's busy checking the docs just to get us some information on how to kind of kick off our first workflow, because that's quite important. As you can see here, there's many different options. It says trigger manually, so that could mean many things. On-app event, that could be a few different things as well, like using Telegram or such. On a schedule, so every day, if you want this to fire off at like 8 a.m., if you're a sales professional and you come in and you want to have your new set of leads ready and warmed up and have the initial introduction mail sent to them, then that can run every day, for example, at 8 o'clock. Or for me, what I'm building workflows for is to, on my personal account, is to have them trade the open bill for different markets across the world. So whilst I'm sleeping, I want the AI to catch the open bill market behavior in Hong Kong, like the top 5 markets they've got, then move over to Mumbai, then move over to Germany and London, then Johannesburg, but more Germany and London, and then over to New York, and then across to San Francisco. So it'll be like those time zones that will each have their own allocation of non-correlated markets, and that's quite meaningful for me to have it on a scheduler. So, for example, New York Open Bowl happens at 9:30, so I'd say get the analysis done by 8:30, because sometimes there's some pre-bull market behavior that kicks in, and then it can jump onto like the Dow Jones and then other said markets, make that kind of capital, that cash for the day, and then kind of close up, and then the next time zone will kick off, and then so on and so forth. All right, so that's the third option. The next option here is on webhook call. This runs the flow receiving HTTP request, so I think that's going to be like connected to a webhook. So if I'm working with TradingView or something to that effect, that could work in there, and you can apply it to your own industry. On form submission, generates web forms in NXN and pass the responses to the workflow. Still learning what that is. I'm sure it's like a database or a table or something. When executed by another workflow, runs the flow when called by the execute workflow mode from a different workflow. That's insane. Oh, wow, that's cool. I was thinking about that, because sometimes you don't want everything to run under one operation, because you don't need everything all the time. But other times you want the outcome of a workflow to be the input for another workflow, and that's already here. Again, this is the reason I'm so glad we went with N8N instead of SimAI, because the maturity of these ideas and concepts and builds exist. It's not on a to-do list or get around to one day. It's been like well used and well tested, so I'm very glad this is where it ended up. On chat message, so you send a chat message, which is pretty cool, because you can almost create like your own chat GPT that's super specific to your world. So if you're a sales professional, to check leads, to warm leads, to reach out to leads, to then give you the responses of any leads that did get back to you. It's not often the case, because email marketing, I think, is dead. A lot of people think otherwise, but I get so like blasted by emails that I just delete, unsubscribe, or create a filter and send it directly to my trash or scam or spam folder. Anyway, so but what I'm saying is that you can actually chat around your own vibe. So if you say, please can you pull together the responded leads this week, and it's like a Wednesday, then it will go through what you've contacted, or check in with your calendar, or check in with your communication choice, and then it'll give you everything that you need so that you can perhaps pick up the phone and maybe contact those leads directly to see if you can do some fact finding or even set up a meeting, etc. So it's like a ChatGPT styled interface, but directly linked into your world, your specification. That's great. I like that a lot. So I'm glad it's there. And then they've got like other ways, runs the flow on workflow errors. All right, so that's quite interesting. I didn't think about this. This is more advanced stuff. So if there is a workflow error, then that will trigger a I'm getting too advanced, but basically it's quite nice, because not everything works all the time, and when things kind of go down, you got to have like a backup plan. So if things go down, this will trigger a workflow to notify the developer, notify the person that it should be deployed for, etc. File changes, whatever. Okay, so those are the main options. There's a lot of reading here, and like I said, my brain's not keen to go through all of it. I'm going to just speed read through it and see if there's any points that stand out. Okay, event driven is also pretty cool. So if like an email comes in, we can start with that email arriving so that the rest of the dominoes will fall, which is pretty cool, or be triggered. Time-based, manual, or once-off. So I want to go, I think, manual or once-off for now, involving specific apps, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, let's just kind of keep it simple. And I'm going to say, what would I use? What would I use for manual or once-off there? And take it expert down to auto, because we don't need to have expert thinking on every single response. Just saves time. Since you're interested in manual or one-off triggers for testing, data processing, and A10, the best choice is the manual trigger mode. Okay, so trigger manually is the top one over there, so it's obviously the most popular, and that's the start of our workflow. So anything that we build on from there all the way to like the end will be triggered by ourselves. What I mean by that is we can press the play button, we can press the start button. It doesn't require an email coming in via this, or a message going in via that, or what are the options we read through earlier. So just starting the whole process, we're going to go with trigger manually, and this is just great. Yeah, there's a lot of information here. Why it's the best option is just for testing. It doesn't depend on events and schedules. Everything we've covered. A lot of reading. I'm not going to go through this right now. I see a bit of code here. I just want to see what the example is. All right, so example workflow. This is so cool that they give you the full workflow in one file. So basically what you're looking at here on the right-hand side is what's happening underneath the hood over here. It's a fancy version of this. It's a very a much prettier version of what this is. And why this is great is because once we get better and better, and we know what good looks like, and we know exactly what we want, we know the limitations and the structural requirements, then we can actually just have for the most part, I mean, it's always going to be some form of human intervention, but we can have the AI models print out the workflows like this, and then just fly through a lot of the manual work, which I'm really excited about. And that's what I spoke about last video as well. Alright, so scaling up, data flow, common next steps, add error handling, if no, to check for empty API response. That's too soon for that. Send outputs to real destination. Yeah, okay, we're going to get there. Explore the N8N docs for node specific settings. Then to use manual trigger versus others, use manual trigger for learning N8N interface, which we're currently doing, testing data, which we're currently doing, one of tasks, which we're currently doing. And also one of tasks me, like an idea I had is that if, for example, you're out and you're on your mobile and you got like an app screen that's got various buttons. If you press like button 1, that can send off workflow number 1, which can trigger a pipeline of tasks. Or alternatively, if the customer is semi-interested and wants a follow-up meeting with your manager and an ops agent or something to that effect, then you could press number 2, and then invitations can go out to all involved, and then a follow-up can be sent 6 hours later to ensure that everyone's available at the agreed upon time, and then the customer can book the next phase with the professionals. Or like 3 is if you want to book a tour around the offices and operations in the warehouse or whatever the case may be. So you've got options over here. Like whilst I'm just speaking about sales, your sales applies to every business, but whilst you're kind of interacting with clients, everything can be like set up just by pressing one button. So that's what it means here, what I would use if I was in sales as one-off tasks. Just on the fly, boom, trigger them, everything gets set up instead of writing down in a journal or getting back to the office eventually, finding time in the afternoon, just trying to fit in all the admin, like all the time wasting stuff can be a thing of the past with thanks to this. Okay, you're going to switch to other triggers when you need to automate, integrate with other apps, and then if your project involves custom logic where n8n source code might help, yep, modifying the manual trigger helps inputs. Let me know what you want and we can explore it. Okay, that's pretty cool. So we're very versatile on the first trigger step. And that's so important because it opens up so many options go down the line. For myself, like I just gave it some deep thought, I'm really excited to build out a whole virtual business utilizing this in the future. Now I just want to learn how to get it done, and I've got a client I need to provide a product for. But whilst this is unfolding, I can start building the marketing department of my business, all virtual, of course. The sales follow-up. Okay, I don't need human resources. That's a non-requirement. I guess accounting, I suppose, analytics, after sales service, the keeping up with, understanding, comprehending trends, handling trends, and that kind of stuff. Like a lot of research, blah 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 blah. I can have all of that, and also because the workflows interlink with one another and with each other, as we just learned, I can have a like branch manager or operational manager that oversees the tasks that need to happen each week, which I have zero interest in doing myself. I don't want to get back into cold selling and anything I had to do in my 20s. Been there, done that, learned the lessons, moving on. But business, as I've learned, still needs those things to happen. I know it's pretty obvious, and a lot of people are like, yeah, well, obviously. But for me, I want to do what is like my passion and my talent and that kind of stuff. But just I've learned firsthand it doesn't always work that way. You need the full offering, and with that, I'm going to again be building out each department, each requirement, so that I can have a virtual business where all of that stuff I don't want to do is being done as if I'm sending it out to a paid agency. And done in my way, like adding context to the deterministic workflow where it's still my signature, still the way I speak, still the way I interact, so that the personalization remains, and it's not cold and templates and dear reader, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we got the first trigger there, and I'm glad I've learned all of them because now I've got a good understanding of what it is that I would require. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the code base and just see if they've got AI agents inside the node section, because that's one of those like areas where you can find it in different places. So if it is here, I'd like for the AI to study the raw code. I wanted to stop on just the starting block tonight, but now that that was super kind of straightforward, I wanted to take the next step, and we can sign off there. So the first two steps are kind of done, but I don't really see it again, it could be under another name somewhere. So let's rather get to here, press the plus button, and then let's go to, oh, there it is. Again, it's such a mature product. It's been around for a decade that the first thing at the top is exactly what I'm looking for. So they obviously work with stats and popularity as to what operates they need to work with. And then AI over here is the first one. So AI, build autonomous agents, summarize search documents, etc. Action in the app is next. Data transformation is next. This all super necessary, all super helpful, and it's really great to have. Flow, branch, merge, or loop because more complicated. Core, run code, make HTTP. Okay, this is what I'll use for my trading stuff. This is like make requests to like other things, like other websites, other requirements, blah 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 blah. New York Stock Exchange, whatever. And then human in the loop. This is quite awesome because human in the loop will provide guidance to what happens next. So it says here, wait for approval or human input before continuing. So when I first started out with this whole interest, I did think that it was going to become a bit of a trust, an overly trusting experience where I would have to lean in on the sophistication of the AI agents, which I'm grateful is not really the case now, because not only are we working like dominoes, like step by step, from one task carried out and then verified or enhanced by AI, that in itself is just much better than just asking AI. I mean, if you've ever worked with ChatGPT on anything serious, you'll realize how disappointing it is in terms of the outcome. You actually spend more time trying to get the thing corrected or better than it would have taken just you doing the task yourself. And that's something I obviously want to change altogether. So you have, like, for example, a function, and then the AI enhances that function and then moves on to the next function, the next domino, then the AI enhances it, and so on and so on and so forth, so that you got your deterministic workflow enhanced by AI driven technology. But the key point I'm trying to get to here is still having the human in the loop. So a lot of people think that just by having a workflow that it's always going to work and it's never going to disappoint. It's not going to be the case. Or other times, what you want is to have input in the decision making as to what to do. So say, for example, your AI goes out and generates 10 leads for you every single day. You can make it 100 leads, but let's call it 10 leads according to your area and your business requirements and all that kind of stuff. It goes out and says, all right, these are the companies that best fit the profile of what you're looking for. And instead of maybe like defaulting because there is an internet hiccup or something where it gets an instruction wrong, and instead of just sending out one generic, more or less, email to a potential lead, it sends out like 8 of those emails, so that your potential customer has now got like seeing your name 8 times with some kind of generic text inside of it. That's not what you want. So having human in the loop can be like, all right, generate the drafts for these 10 leads, but because of the way that I want things done for myself, I would have it that each lead is customized to the research that the agent found about that company before reaching out to them. So potential pain points, our potential proposed strength, and just any reason to continue the conversation. But obviously doing that 10 times a day is quite heavy on your time. So I'd have that automated. But the human in the loop part is what we're talking about here, is you get to give it a quick scan over to see if it's kind of dodgy, if it's good, and if it is good, rather than like just bad or needs to be rewritten or whatever the case would be, you can give it a go ahead. And let's say, for example, 8 of the emails are great, but 2 of them didn't quite get the context of the leads company correct, and you just have to make 1 or 2 minor refactors before that goes out. So human in the loop is very positive. I'm so glad that it's here. And then other triggers, they've got over 400 different triggers that you can use. So I'm going to go AI agent. All right, so we got pre-builds. Let's want to see what they say there. Voice agent. What? Oh, I can't believe how excited I'm getting about this. I thought it was going to be like getting back to boring business, but this is really exciting where they are right now. And again, this is all source code, as you saw, on my local machine. I'm not paying for this. This is for the foreseeable future free, which is insane. Okay, so voice assistant agents, personal AI assistant in Telegram, handling both text and voice messages. Hells yes. Whoa, it's pre-built. What? Okay, so you set your stuff inside there. Transcribe the audio. Is this pre-built? Oh my gosh, this is insane. Man, I would love... Oh, what? Are these official N8N templates? That's so awesome. So basically what I'm looking at here is that Telegram, which is like WhatsApp basically, but much better, checks if there's an audio file that comes in, downloads the file, transcribes the file. The AI assistant then, I would assume, summarizes it, then calls on the requirements of exactly what it is that you want to set up. So that's where memory steps in over here. So memory will be able to say like, hey, I want you to give me a summary. I also want you to list out 3 next steps or action items. And then lastly, who is involved inside this? Do I need accounts to know about it? The management team, the operators, the warehouse, the blah, 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 blah. And then that gets pushed out back to Telegram with all that information, and you can either forward it onto your group, or you can add on something over here where it goes out to Gmail calendar or whatever the case may be. So that's so rad. Wow, I'm so surprised to see that, to be honest, as you can tell. Email triage agent. This is categorize new unread emails by analyzing content and applying relevant labels. That sounds super boring, but it becomes super important because you want to have like the management within your environment so that the rest of the triggers get correctly configured. And that we can build on that as time goes by. Knowledge store agents, okay, self-explanatory. Calendar agent, self-explanatory. Task manage agent, joke agent. Yeah, the jokes, AI jokes are pretty lame, so I'm going to give that one a skip. All right, so I want to go to AI agent. I might have to stop the video here because often you have to put your own credentials in. I just want to see if there's any one that are free. Anthropic is very expensive. Google Gemini might come preloaded with the free option. I don't think that will though. We can have a look. OpenAI is too expensive and quite stupid. Basic LLM chain. A simple chain to prompt a large model. Why chain? I'm not sure why chain is required there. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Information extractor. Extract information from text in a structured format. So this is basically what we're doing over here. It takes text, puts it into a structured format, and then that can move on in a nice, neat, fast, understood way to the next environment. Question answer chain. oh, this is about getting retrieved documents, and then like if you want to open up a policy for a client, or if in law you need to get to understand the property agreement or whatever the case is, you can interact with the documents. Sentiment analysis says analyze the sentiment of your text. Okay, that's lame. Or actually, no, when it comes to context, perhaps it'll actually help us later on just to give that personal approach. Summarization of the train, concise summary of the text. Text classifier, classify your text into distinct categories. So that's more kind of root based stuff. It's weird that that's under. Oh, this is just next step notes. Okay, there's just different examples. I want to try Google Gemini. I'm not sure if we're going to get it for free, but we do have a ton of options over here. Analyze audio, transcribing audio, analyze documents, upload a file, analyze an image, generate image, edit an image, text, analyze video. Okay, so actually none of those, to be honest. What I want to do is start interacting with Google Sheets, which is quite weird because Google Gemini would probably be the better option. Create an assistant, message a model, create an image, delete a file. Okay, very generic stuff, not what we're looking for. Anthropic won't be any better. Image, improve prompts, okay, boring, and file upload and stuff. Okay, so I want to go to AI agent. Now this might be where I stop the video because I need to generate keys and then put that into here so that I can interact with AI models, but also I think we're getting into more complex setups where I want to work with you guys through each of the different options. Like for example, Grok, you can get free API, which is free access in other words. DeepSeek, I don't think it's free, but it's very low cost in comparison. I mean, XAI, if I would be willing to spend thousands of dollars on API calls, XAI Grok would be my default. Let me just check if we can. Okay, so it's set credentials. Create new credential. Okay, I'll have to get into this in the next video. Let's not get too carried away right now. But it's kind of preset this when message received on here, but I'm not sure where the message would come from. Oh, it's got its own chat environment. That's so cool. I'm getting so excited for this. Oh my gosh, but I don't want to wake up a zombie tomorrow. So I'm going to stop the video here. And I'm hoping that this journey starts to add value to you as much as it seems like it's going to add value to me, because I'm so impressed, but so far, like wow, it's incredible what they've got set up just by default. And when I first looked at this service offering, it was pretty intimidating, and I wasn't too excited by it because I don't like a lot of documentation, I don't like a lot of learning curve, and I don't like this and that the next thing. But so far, it's so intuitive, it's so easy to work with. The only thing that I don't find too intuitive is this structure. But again, it's actually down to the way I've always worked my entire life. It's in, do, out. The input, the processing, and what happens, where the transformation is, and why and how and what. And then the output is like, where does it land up? What is it transformed to? And then that output will become the input to the next thing, where that gets transformed to the output. So it's basically like this 3-step tier that you can keep going over and over and over again, and that's pretty simple to comprehend. It's so cool that this chat thing kind of drops down automatically. Memory is so important. You've got just your simple memory. I think N8N has got its own data in there now, so you don't even have to go to outside providers. Not that Postgres would cost much in any case, or even locally hosted MongoDB won't cost much either. Simple memory is probably what's going to end up working. I mean, pre-built agents, what's this about? Okay. Yeah, and then also the tools. I mean, you can just open up, bang, 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 bang. Just model context protocol tools ready to rock and roll. That's so powerful. There's so much. Look at all these services. I love it. Oh, there's Google. That's exactly what we're looking for, right? Google Sheets. Hello. So Google Sheets, I'll put in all the information here. What it is that I want them to do. I want them to append the last row. There we go, append row. I mean, it's so intuitive. Well, I'm really, 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 really impressed with so far. Cool. All right. Again, I will leave it there today, and then we will tackle our first AI agent. I mean, that escalated really quickly. We're already at AI agents. We'll tackle our first AI agents in the next one. Ciao for now, guys. I'll catch up with you in the next one.